Hello, hello. Welcome back to ReEnvision, the podcast.
Hello.
I have honestly, a very special guest, like altogether, but like a very special person on my podcast today. And it's my husband, Stoni. Hi.
Hello.
He selflessly volunteered to test these new features that we have available through the Spotify for Podcaster, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool interface, and I'm very happy and grateful that he is here with me, and he agreed to do this. I while we're on this subject, there's some people in life that are your like cheerleaders, and I want to acknowledge the fact that my husband is my greatest cheerleader. He always supports me. He always is there. And he's also somebody that I turn to whenever like things are getting rough or that I need clarity on something, because I think that he has a lot of great insight on things. And because we have like brains that function differently, there's a real like melting mastermind going on in our everyday life. So I've wanted to have him for the longest time on the podcast to kind of share about like the dynamics of our relationships, like within and without.
Well, I find that I think we both feed off each other, and that helps us do our own processes in our mind because we value each other's opinion. Whether we take the opinion or not, that's different. But at least we always want to hear it.
That's actually a really good point, because a lot of the times we seek the opinion of somebody else because we want a different perspective. And when the person that we're seeking with, we trust that they're giving the opinion back, whether, without any attachment to it, in a sense that like it's kind of like in a vacuum. They know us. They can see like how we move in the world, and they can really like reflect back what they truly think without any, you don't expect anything back, right? Like when you're giving me your opinion, you're just giving me your opinion. And whether, like you said, like whether I take it or not.
You don't have to commit to my opinion. You just have to listen to it.
Exactly.
And then you just, or not listen to it, pretend to. Either way, either way works. Good.
While we're recording this, it's really interesting because today is February 29th. So this year is a leap year. And I think that it's interesting because, like on social media, we have like these memories that come back like once a year. Like, last year you were doing this, and like 3 years ago you were doing this. I just love those, like, because it really brings you back to, oh, you remember this and you remember this. And we're recording this, and whatever memory that we have, it would be coming back in like 4 years from now. Not before.
Wouldn't it come back on the 28th or on the 1st of March?
No, because it was like on this day 4 years ago.
Oh, there can't be a glitch that big in the internet. Like, come on. Somebody must have said, wait a minute, we'll put it on the 28th or the 1st so that somebody like Microsoft or Google can make money off of it.
Well, listen, we'll watch for that, and we'll see if that happens.
Putting it in my calendar.
But there are glitches. Are you going to put it on the 28th, on the 1st of March?
Both.
It's like a 2-day period.
And on the 29th, in case you completely forget, and in 4 years we'll go, oh, look at that.
It's like a recurring event. Look at that. It didn't show up. Did it show up? Did it not show up? It's interesting because you're talking about the IT, and I think also that it's interesting that we're recording this today because we're celebrating something really big. And I think that there's too many times in life where we're either not taking the time to celebrate, or we're celebrating, but we're already to the next thing. And after we've worked so hard on things for like a long period of time, we kind of want to stay in that celebration vibe for a little longer than just, oh, that's done. On to the next thing, and on to the next thing, and on to the next thing. And sitting in gratitude and celebrating the milestone that we're going through, especially like when we're looking back at all the hurdles and whatever we've been giving it, like our all, it's for me, it's really important, and I think that for you it is as well. That's why we love so much, like to open bubbles and and to celebrate the little moments in life. So what are we celebrating?
Basically, not many of you know me. Originally, I'm a brewmaster. I was trained in Germany. Did that for a gazillion years, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. I was also a yoga instructor, diving instructor, massage therapist. Never mind those. So I was working in the beer industry, cider industry, basically made hoot, gin, whiskey, and stuff like that. And I really want to get away from it. It's just like it's done. It's check, check, and check. It's too many years now. I don't have the patience for it anymore, and I don't have the passion for it anymore. Just it was cute. And for years, I've been dabbling with IT, especially Linux. Like when Linux first came out, I remember going out and getting a little magazine with your 19 CDs in there, so you can upload Linux, and it took like 4 days to do it, and nothing worked. But I thought it was really neat. And last year, decided to since the brewing industry is not doing so well here in Germany, and I really didn't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do shift work and all that stuff. So I decided to take the plunge, and I did how many certifications? 6 certifications in IT.
6 or 7, quite a few actually.
I did CompTIA A+, CompTIA Network, Linux LPIC 1. I did ITIL 4, Prince 2, Microsoft End User Administrator, and CCNA.
CCNA,
which I just did yesterday, finished it. I was supposed to do it on 26 days earlier, on the 2nd of February, and everything's done online and with a proctor. So somebody sitting there watching you while they're recording, and you got microphone has to be on, and you have to take pictures of everything and show the camera around, make sure nobody's in the room with you, nobody's hiding in your back pocket or something like that. And all the exams, never a single problem. And then this one, the last exam, the biggest one, the hardest one, all of a sudden my microphone starts making noise, and they threw me out of the room, the virtual room. And I was only able to get another appointment yesterday. And it
they gave you an extra month.
Give me an extra month, which I don't know if it helped me or made me go crazy. Maybe a bit of both. And basically, so I passed all the certifications, and I started a new job April 1st in IT, starting off in IT support.
So now we have like the whole month of March to just go out and play, which is absolutely amazing because
goof off.
To goof off. And what has been so amazing in me witnessing you because as you were saying, like, I think that our relationship, there's a lot of freedom that we have to be ourselves. And it's not just like supporting each other in who we are, but also in the journey. The fact that I really cherish, we're evolving together, but we're evolving together, and we're also evolving like alone. And that is something that was really, it's a dynamic that actually formed very early in our relationship. Like, we've been together for like, it's going to be 15 years this year, which is wow.
Yep.
And I came out of a relationship that was like fusional, where I didn't have a lot of freedom and I didn't have a lot of individuality within that relationship. And you came into our relationship as a lone wolf, in a sense that you had been like alone and doing your own freedom things for a long time. So having this kind of like dynamic where I was in a place where being a team, I knew how to be a member of a team, but I didn't know how to be an individual within that team. And you came in not necessarily being used to the dynamic of being in a like long-term relationship team, but you were really, really good at being individual within your life. And we had like, and a lot of people are like, they're looking at us and they're like, oh, you're so perfect together. We are. But behind the scene, that took a lot of commitment and a lot of love and a lot of like setting aside our own little things to see beyond whatever was going on.
Well,
I'm
also, I
interesting
think it
to,
helps that we're both a little crazy and we accept each other's craziness. Because
yeah.
we knew we didn't have to give up our own craziness to accept the others.
Earlier we were talking about the fact that we're supporting each other. I have the hardest time of letting go of things that are not aligned with me. Things that I will stay in a place where I'm suffering for a long, like I need to feel the pain, like, and a lot of and you're not like that. Like you're somebody that you're like boiling water, jump out, bye-bye. And
Well,
a lot less now, but we're not on the extremes, but we're really like opposite of that. And a lot of the times you're like, well, I don't know why you just move. And I'm like, no, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. And then you're just
it
like,
must be because
okay.
I'm older than you and I don't want to put up with crap anymore. So it's if you bug me now, thanks for all the fish, but we can stay friends on Facebook, but don't ever contact me.
You do. We have 10 years difference. But what I have learned the through that is your ability to embrace change was beyond what my ability to embrace change was. And it's interesting because now, of the work that I'm doing, sometimes the resistance through the change, like we think that the change is going to be like super painful, and I know that a lot of the times change is painful, but it's part of the whole processes. And there's like a point where like the pain, fear of change becomes lower than the actual resistance to it. That you've showed me how to flip it, and the way that I see it is, it's not because I chose something today that I need to choose it again tomorrow. And I get to choose
Yes.
every day if this is the path that I'm walking or if I choose something else. And for me, that was like this, if there's one takeaway of our relationship, that's what I've learned the most, and that how I've been walking the path with you and taking that energy into my my own journey. And it's like, I think it's easy when it's the small things, but it's by doing the small things that we get to the big things. And when we did, because our old move coming here, it put our relationship in like the strainer, and it put individually our own like journey in the strainer. And when you were looking at like the different paths that you were going to take, like, am I going back like to beer because it's the easy path, even if you didn't want, because there was a reason why you were not in beer back in Canada. You were doing something else. You were doing ciders, you were doing like hard alcohol. There was already something that was going on with your relationship with that path that you have been walking, and then you came back here, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go there. And we got surprised
Well, also because I came back
because
here where I started. I did a 3-year apprenticeship, did a year master school. There's a huge tradition in breweries here. I mean, the brewery that I did my apprenticeship with started up in 1282 AD. So I mean, they've been around for a little while, And the last one I worked for in Germany was about 180 years old, and the only reason they closed up is because the owner died and they got swallowed by a bigger brewery. So the whole tradition is here, and all the people that I went to school with were here, and like they live and breathe beer. And unfortunately, over the years, because I've always, like changed, I've lived all over the world, and I became a scuba instructor, this and that. I realized there's something else out there besides beer, and some of them they work in the brewery all day long, then they go home and they brew beer at home. And it's like I was like that for the first year, and then after that, I realized I can go to the store and buy a case of beer, and it comes in bottles, and all you have to do is open the top, and you can drink it, and it's ready to go. And I can go buy a different kind the next day, which is just it's mind-boggling. Then I realized that I had time to do other stuff, and then I started. And as you know, I always need to learn something. I'm always constantly researching something, checking out something, trying to figure out a problem. I need that. Otherwise, I just get bored. And that's a lot of times why I moved from one country. I got so bored that I sold everything I owned, put everything that I had left in 2 bags, piece of luggage, and I moved from one country to the other. And then started a new job. And 2 years later, said, okay, well, been there, done that. Check again. Sell everything I just bought, whatever fits in 2 pieces of luggage, and find another job and go somewhere else in the world. And it's at one point I realized it wasn't that I needed to change to go work at another brewery. I need to get out of the brewery. The brewery was the problem because it's a lot of fun, but I'm so used to it, and I don't want to chew on over it. I'm really good at it. It came naturally to me, but that's why I got boring. It's just at the end of the day, and a lot of people are gonna hate this, but it's just beer. I'm not saving the world or anything here, you know. I mean, maybe sometimes, some days at the end of the day, I'm saving somebody's day, but besides that, and that's why we came here. I figured, oh yeah, well, I gotta go back into beer because we're in Germany. What else does Germany have besides beer and sausages, right?
Beer, sausage, and sauerkraut.
And sauerkraut. That's
It's
all
not
they
true.
eat and drink every single day.
Listeners,
True.
There's more to Germany than those 3. I'm telling you. Like, I promise.
There's also the apple schnapps that goes with every meal. No, I'm just kidding. And then I realized I want to do something where I can stay what I'm doing, but actually change what I'm doing in it. And IT is the perfect thing for that. There's so many things you can do in it. And you can actually get a job where you are helping people, where you are helping to change the world, where you're doing something useful.
You're touching on 2 things right now that I need to bring back. First, when we want to change stuff all the time, like it's like when it becomes an addiction, there's a deeper root where we have to explore, which is like in your case, it was not because you needed the change all the time. It's because you needed the big change, right? And the big change was to get out of like that little form path that you had, that you actually went to study for, and like you know, like you were in those tracks. Now, changing completely takes like an incredible amount of altogether resources, like, and I say resources like in time, in commitment, in energy, in money, in like beyond what we can in our everyday life envision that we can muster. And then something happens. You take like a leap, like, moving to Germany. And the universe says, all right, now is the time. And like a lot of people were like, oh, like it's going to be easy for you to find a job because beer and industry of beer in Germany. And what happened to the industry of beer when we came to Germany?
It started dying out. The small breweries, even big breweries, were closing up. Breweries have been around for hundreds of years. They just couldn't anymore, and they got bought up by some big corporation or by another brewery. But basically, they closed down that brewery and took their labels and put on their own beer. And so brewers are looking for jobs left, right, and center, and the only ones that are really hiring are the small little mom and pop shops, but they don't pay well. And you have to do it's an insane amount of work and night shift and stuff like that. And I don't do night shift anymore.
So we've had a lot of conversation around this where there's a few things like in a big change like this, there's a few things that you actually like, I want to say assume they're going to be easier. But when you do big changes, you have to assume that nothing is going to go right, in a sense that not that it's like it's bound that it's not going to go right. It's just like you have to be so anchored in yourself, and you have to be so grounded and have tools to calm your nervous system to navigate whatever comes your way. And now you like the first year you were applying like because like we're just gonna go that path and we're gonna go that path, and like there's the wall and there's the wall and there's the wall, and like at some point we're like, okay, like there's the wall, how about we acknowledge that there's a wall, because anyways you don't want to do this. So how do we like think of re-envisioning that life? And sometimes it means that at 52 years old you're going back to school.
Yep.
And in your case, it's easier, and I'm air quoting here, because as you said, you're an eternal student. I'm an eternal student too. That's one thing that we have in common as well, where the day that I'm not going to be able to learn anything else is the day, which is not going to happen, but like is the day that there's no more purpose for me. Like the constant growth and evolution is one of the reasons why I feel I'm on this earth. I'm in this human experience. And this is one thing that we share together. So, but still at 52 years old, we're like, okay, like am I committed to like a 1 month thing, or like a 2 month thing, or like a year-long thing?
Well, it wasn't a year, it was only 11 months.
But the first one, I can we talk about this? I'd like to talk about this.
Sure.
The first thing that because you went to the equivalent of the what would it be in English? Arbeitsamt.
No, employment agency.
Exactly, employment agency, and you're like, okay, like you have somebody that is like a counselor that is appointed to you, and then you're like, okay, like this is what I'm doing, like can you help me like find a job or whatever? This is what they're there for. And you went there, and then she said, well, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. And one of the options was to do a Umschulung, which is a retraining in another industry.
Exactly. And we chose IT because it's the one they're always looking for people. And for me, it was very important to if I get into something else, I want to get something that I can work remotely. Because who knows where we're going to be in 5 years. And I'm not going to get stuck somewhere else, because one of the things I didn't like about breweries was you had to be at the brewery. You couldn't do that remotely. It's not like I can, stir the pot from at home. And so we decided on IT, and the first thing was web development.
Uh-huh. And it was a
boot camp.
1 month boot camp.
3 months. 3-month boot camp.
Oh,
and months, right away they said, oh, yeah, here, do this online little exam. I did the exam where you basically Googled everything, and I was able to figure out no problem. And then I get into it as a back-end developer. And it's not like, hit the ground running. You splat on the ground, like get up and crawl. They assumed I was the only one in the class who had no prior experience. Most people there were already front-end developers, so they already knew how to program. I mean, I've dabbled in that, but the speed that they were going at, I couldn't keep up. I had no idea. And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. It's only 2 months, and in the last month you work on your own project, and then you Google everything and you work it out and you figure it out. And I'm like, but that's not how I want to learn. I can't learn like that. I need to know why something is, and I don't want to be there and just half-ass it. And at the end of the day, not really know what I'm doing, which I know a lot of web developers do start off that way, but that's not the way I like to work. When somebody asks me a question, I want to be able to answer the question properly. When I'm done, I want to be able to explain to you. Then I know that I know it. So after 2 weeks, I said, I'm not having fun here. This is just horrible. So I quit, and then said, well, why do we go into networking and security? And it's going to be 11 months. It's like, oof. But I started off and I learned from the basics how to count in binary, how to do hexadecimal, really nitty-gritty stuff that most web developers have. When I talk about it, they have no clue what I'm talking about. And it was painful to learn, but I learned it and I know it now and I'm happy. I still like to get into web developing at some point, but that's something I can do now on my own. Because now I know how the system works. Now I can work with the system instead of learning how to work with a system that I don't understand. It's basically the way it was. And so I'm very glad it happened the way it did, because it taught me a lesson as well. That I bit off more than I can chew, because I did this little exam online, which was ridiculous. It was just a money-making thing. I'm not going to say who it was, but it was just a money-making scheme. And I know a lot of people that did the course with me that still to this day don't have a job in IT. I still communicate with some of them. And they said, well, no, you did a 3-month thing where you made a project, and that doesn't make you a developer. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, it's actually big, because you were able, like, when we know ourselves, like truly, when we're connected to our values and how we want to move like forward, like you were really early on, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, you know very rapidly if something is for you or not. And it's not because sometimes a lot of people are like, oh, this is not for me, just because like they're afraid, and they have doubt, and they think that they're not they're not worthy, or they're not enough, or they're not blah 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 blah. But when you know yourself, then you know very quickly if something is not for you, which allows you to change lane, which allows you to make a move that would be contrariative. Like, a lot of people were to say, oh, no, you have to stick it up, like, which is what I would always do before, no, we have to stick it up. And like, it doesn't matter. Like, I can suffer through this. But why? Like, if it's not meant for you, like, why would you suffer through something to get something that is not expensive, that is not like bringing you to where you want to go? And that was so amazing, that period of time where we had these discussions together, where we're like I was like, well, like, are you sure that like this is not, and then you were like, no, but I'll try it, like I'll try like a one more day. And like, no, like, there's a constant like outlier, there's a constant like voice, there's a constant like glitch, there's an interference that is so easy for most of us to like not look at. But you're like, no, there's a reason why the alignment, like there's misalignment, there's like something like this is not good, this is not for me. I need to go back to the drawing table and figure out what's the next step. And when we do that, sometimes we took a hit, right? Like there's a gut punch, there's like a, like, is it because like I'm not enough? Is it because like I'm not worthy? Is it because this is not for me? Is like all of that comes to mind.
Yeah.
How do you work through that?
And the thing is, I'm the only one that said something, and I thought I was the only one that didn't understand. But I found out later on that half the class was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I have no clue what I'm doing. But every time he said, how does this work? He goes, you don't have to know how it works. Just know that it works and just use it. And later on, half of being a programmer is just Googling stuff. But he could never answer any questions. And I'm the kind of person who needs to know, well, why does it work? And why are we using it? Not just use it because that's what everybody else does. And I've never been one of those people that does what everybody else does, which is a blessing and sometimes a curse.
Well, yes. But like recipes, I think that we are in life the way that we both love to cook, and we're both very bad at following recipes because we move in a very intuitive way. We move organically. There's a lot of like wisdom that we trust and that we lean on, that we know by experience. Like, you said earlier that we know by experience that like recipes are good, like if you want to start moving. Like if the recipe like works, like is it really like a real recipe? Like is it the recipe that works for you? Like what's the energy that, like, what's the mindset behind it? Like, so when we say like, oh, I've tried something, like, why, like, did you try something, or like did you try the recipe just because it was like a copy paste? Or did you say, wait a minute, like what can I learn from this recipe, draw my conclusions, and integrate it in myself and move on? And that's I think what makes us good at anything that we set our mind to. It's because that's the way that we approach the learning process.
True. I mean, look, for years I've been trying to make proper sourdough bread. And then I found this one recipe that was just easy to follow, the ratios. And I did it exactly the same. Well, I almost did it the way they said to do it the first time. And it came out great. And I've been twisting it and changing it. And it still follows the basic lines. I use a template. How's that? Of the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know the times and the amount, the ratios. And it works. And now I just, throw all the kinds of nuts in there and seeds. And it makes beautiful sourdough bread.
You've started to have a little social media presence. I think that you're amazing, like in person, and it's always interesting when we're amazing in person, like how like it translates into social media, like whether we commit to like sharing the stuff or not. But your handle is Yogi Under Construction, and do you want to talk about that? Like I think it's really interesting because like when we hear what you all said, like we kind of start to grasp what kind of person you are, but there's a devotion and commitment to like something that you're working on.
Okay, well, I've been doing yoga for quite a while, and martial arts before that, and finally did my yoga instructor class in 2019, which I didn't finish right away because we decided to go to Germany, and I missed one weekend, and I ended up doing that in a year later, finish it off. And I thought that after that, I figured, oh yeah, I'm going to be a real yogi. And I realized I'm not a yogi. I'm still a yogi under construction. And everything I do is little bits and pieces, little pieces of work that I do around myself to get me to where I hopefully eventually will get to before I die. I probably will not, because nobody really does. But I always like the term that all I want to do is be a little bit less of an asshole than I was yesterday. I've always loved that. And so just, it's not that I've changed so much over the years, but I know how I am now, and I can control it better. And before I say something stupid, I go, hold on, this rings a bell. No, don't do that. That doesn't end well. Or you're going to hurt somebody's feelings even though it's just a joke. And just, I understand that now, and I know myself better, and that helps me communicate better with other people. And I've gotten much better at settling disputes for other people. And for some reason, people that I work with, they always feel at ease with me. And they always go, oh, like, when everyone's panicking, you're the Zen guy. And in my mind, I'm panicking, but I'm not showing it. That's what's important. That's what's important in it. And basically, I have the Esta handle, Yogi Under Construction, which I've been wanting to do something with for a long time, and it's going to happen. And there'll be meditations. Like, I'm also a meditation coach. I've done like a 500 hours course or something like that. It was 500 hours, not 300 hours. I never finished 500. And I try to meditate. I did meditate for a long time, every day, and now it's been a long time, not every day. I did a nice little meditation retreat at a monastery last year, just before my classes started, which was 6 days of session, which is Zen in a Zendo, Zen Buddhist meditation, complete silence. Starts at 5 in the morning and ends at 10 at night. You have like 4 hours in the day where you do other stuff, and the rest of the time you just sit there staring at the wall and meditate.
This is okay. Like, we're opening a door here on meditation. I'm aware of time, but like, we both have guided and I've explored different types of meditation, whether like a passive meditation and the active meditation, and every time that I talk about meditation with people that don't meditate, they're like, oh, I can't meditate. I've tried it, I can't meditate. And you're just like, well, like, you actually like go to the gym and then you don't look at the amount of like weights that are on the whatever dumbbell, and like you try to push and it's like 175 pounds, and you're like, I try to do the dumbbell and it's not working for me. And people think that it's like, okay, like I sit like in peace and I don't think about anything. And that's not what meditation is.
It definitely is not. It definitely is not. No, it's. I thought that's what I used to think that's what it was too, because you always see this guy sitting on top of a mountain, and he's, what he must be thinking about. He's not even thinking about it. He's just being the universe himself. And probably inside that guy's head, he goes, what am I gonna have for dinner? Oh wait, no, back to the meditation. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Oh, look at that. It's gonna be a long walk back home. Oh wait, back to the meditation. And these are people that have been meditating for years and years and years, and it still happens to them. The point being is to try to make the time in between that you realize that you're not meditating shorter. So nobody's gonna. You can't. The human mind cannot just sit there and not do anything, unless you're dead. You're always going to be moving. There's always something happening. But it's to realize what your mind is doing and trying to figure out why it's doing it. That's what actually meditation is there for, and it helps you understand your own emotions. And it gives you the time to explore your emotions and explore the actions that you do every day and try to figure yourself out better. And instead of comparing to other people, you're trying to see how you are inside yourself and how you were compared to the day before, and how certain things make you feel, and why do they make you feel that way. It's a big conversation we can have on this. It's for sure.
Well, for sure. And I think that it is something that I would like to come back at some point. But if I circle back to what you were saying about the fact that your goal is to be less of an asshole than you were the day before, and the piece that I was saying, that what I've learned from you is that every single day I can re-choose, then if you're connected and if you can go deep to the roots of why you're having these reactions, instead of saying like, I always have these reactions, I'm a dumbass, an asshole, or whatever, you can actually say, hey, hold on a second, I get to choose. No matter how many times I've chosen this path, I get today to re-choose something else. And it's a, it's a work in progress all the time, but like the more we do it, the more that we create space, the more that we create evidence that it's real and it's possible for us to move in a direction. It's not about changing, it's about moving in a direction that is more aligned with us.
Exactly, because I mean, you can meditate to become more of an ass. Just because you meditate doesn't mean you're going to become a better person. It just you get more focused. So if I want to be a meaner person, meditation would help me with that as well. Theoretically, it would.
Well, yes, you know what? It's
Because you'd
true.
be a more focused, mean person.
True. I can't.
Maybe we should change the handle. Maybe we should change the handle from a yoga under construction to the sarcastic yogi.
Well, that is, you have a very sarcastic humor and a very, in French we say pince sans rire. What would be the, like you make jokes, pince sans rire, yeah. Like you make a joke, but like your face is straight, like it's always straight.
Yes.
And sometimes people that don't know you, or like that, sometimes you say something and I'm like, I'm the translator, it's like, it's a joke. And appear like, oh, that's actually good. Like, it's like, yes. So yes, meditation improves a whole bunch of different skills, including like focus and everything. And it's like any tool that can be used for any purpose.
Exactly, but it must be used. But you can't just think about meditating. You actually have to do it. It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym and think about how am I going to work out instead of actually working out, you're not going to notice much of a difference.
No.
Eventually, you just have to sit down and do it. Get on the mat and meditate. That's the only way to actually learn how to meditate, is by doing it. You can read all the books you want, listen to all the podcasts on meditation, and watch all the movies like 7 Years in Tibet or whatever. It's not going to make you a meditator. You have to actually meditate to do it.
So for somebody that would want to start, like you actually have a conversation with somebody and they say, okay, like, I'd like to, but where do I start? What has been your point of entry to this?
Well, my point of entry was years ago through martial arts. Back in the day where it was part of martial arts. Honestly, nowadays the easy thing is just try an app, just to see if you like it. You get a feel for it, and after you like it, it's a very important. I think it really is at the beginning to find a sangha, a group of people that you can meditate with, somebody that can guide you, and if you have questions, you can actually, somebody can actually answer the questions and not tell you something that somebody else wrote on a forum somewhere or on a Facebook page. And there's a lot more of these groups around than you think. You just check out like a meetup or something like that. Buddhist temples have it often. Yoga centers have it, but try to look at ones that actually have a separate meditation class, not just a little bit of meditation in the yoga class, because usually it's just they add it in there. But they actually have like a real hour meditation, not 20 minutes or something, because it takes you 20 minutes to get just the mindset to get ready to meditate. Because what you're doing before is you're just calming your mind. After about, in the beginning of it, it takes about a good 20 minutes, and then you're there, and now you can accept it and actually get into it.
It's interesting because you mentioned Buddhist temple, but the retreat that you did last year was like non-denominational. Meditation is often linked with like some sort of religions, but it doesn't have like it is part of a spiritual like bigger scene, but it doesn't have to be spiritual. Like that's why like all the research that is coming out on like the mind body connection and like like it's like there's a science behind how the human mind work and how to calm our nervous system, that is not linked to any religion. So if you're listening to this and you're still like in that mindset of like meditation means like religion, well, decouple this. Like this is
because the session that I did last year was at a monastery, which was actually an old Catholic monastery that was converted into a mindfulness center. And they offer different kinds of things. They have vipassana, they have just normal mindfulness for children. You can go and help out there. People that need a break from life, you can go there and for a month and just live there and help out with the work as well, the work in the gardens, help cleaning up, help in the kitchen. And part of the thing was when I was there for the week, we had a chore to do, and I chose kitchen work, which unfortunately was not available. So I had cleaning up and setting up work instead for the food, for the meals, and it wasn't religious whatsoever. It's just it was traditional. They tried to make it Japanese traditional because the Zen was the major courses they gave there. So you had the people at 5 o'clock that hit the wooden sticks against the big wooden poles and the 3 times, and like there was no chanting or anything like that. But we had before every meditation, you did the 2 sticks, you whacked together 3 times, and then we did a thoughtful walking in the mornings where you just walk for 10-15 minutes at a normal pace, and just look at the ground and just it's basically a walking meditation. And that's how the morning would start. Then we would go inside and then we do an actual meditation. But in between each 20-minute, 30-minute meditation, we all get up, first of all, so we can stretch our legs and stuff like that. And for 5 minutes, go around in a circle in the room. And that was the walking meditation part, which served two different things. It's just, to change the mood around a bit. And in between these, we had motos, which were basically talking sessions, where some were asked questions in a group. Some were asked questions in just one-on-one, and the other one was just listen. And it was basically some kind of a story from an old monk that did this and that. There was always a moral behind the story to try to explain things to people. And it was just very traditional, but there was no religion involved. It was just 10 o'clock, the 6 hit. Why? Because it's 10 o'clock. That means it's the ceremony is there, that it's over, and the hitting the 6 in the morning, it's good. Now it starts. And it's just to put a beginning and an end to everything.
Like
Get the
put
mindset
going,
basically.
a framework around this.
Exactly.
I love.
So, at this point, you don't talk anymore. That's boom.
Yeah. Like marking the beginning and the end of something. Like because a lot of the times we have, a hard time like putting containers, like smaller containers where we can, because putting it like the container where you start could be like 30 seconds, could be like a minute, could be 2 minutes, like you were talking about like the 20 minutes to an hour. But like when we're starting, like when we're looking at that, we're like, oh my God. So I love that the piece of community came up, because that is something that is across the board, in any like support, personal development, being more at ease with ourselves, like touching more freedom, like and expressing of ourselves. There's always this community piece that is coming back and back and back and back. But beyond that, you were talking about the walking meditation in action is, I think, for most people, the place where it's easier to get started. It's actually a book on this. I will link in the show notes, but and that's the work that I do with people when they come in, where we're noticing, like, first, like, if we can't calm the mind with like a calm body, how do we move into a state that is meditating in a movement part, right? Like and we see this like in people that are doing some sports, that like when you're moving, like when you start to like go out for a jog, for example, like this piece that you touch while you're moving is also like building blocks to like how it would feel in your body, and to start to transpose that in other situations. I have a program that I did in November last year, or December, if you're interested. I'll also link. It's called Breathe, and it's in that there's like 4 modules, there's 4 activations in clearing. We're really going into like those different pieces, and it's an easy guided way of touching that. And for me, I actually thought for years and years that it's when I started to use apps that I started to meditate. But as I developed that skill, I actually realize how many like these little points in my life that I was experiencing this feeling of groundedness, this feeling of calmness in other situation, one of them being connected to my breathing while I was underwater when I started to dive. So before you actually get into your head as a listener, like as I say this, and like I have to do this like this and I have to do this like that, like how in everyday life do you have these moments, and noticing in awareness and mindfulness these little moments that you already have, and how to build on that is also a really good. So start doing that like right now and find a community, and then you can start to move into that, the result being whatever the journey is. Not like I would like to be on the mountain, like in the, what's the movie called again, Kung Fu Panda, where he's next to the tree. Like this is not, this is a cartoon, but it's also like this image that we have that is so disconnected with our everyday life. And to rethink the way that we meditate, to rethink the way that we move and we call our nervous system, is really key in getting the most of what this powerful tool is in our life, and how we can really, no matter what the storms are around us, how do I go back to me? How do I go back to like knowing and trusting and listening to my wisdom that will let me say, listen, I'm re-choosing, or this is not for me, or like, so all of whatever we've talked to about so far is basically coming back to that. And I'm so grateful that we chose to go that conversation, and we ended up here, because I think that for me it's the basis.
I want to say one more thing for people that are starting to learn. When you sit down and you don't know what's going on, smile. Just close your eyes and have a big smile, and already your face is going to relax, and you're going to feel better, and it's going to put you in the right frame of
Mood.
mind.
Frame of
Because
mind.
if you sit there and
Mindset.
you're already in a bad mood, the meditation is not going to be a nice meditation. Just sit there and smile, and you almost feel like the warmth going through your body, and just keep that there, and then think about smiling, and that will bring the rest of the thoughts coming in. And it's just, you have to let it go. Meditation is not fighting yourself; it's finding yourself, which is a lot easier said than done. But you have to give in to yourself, basically. And it's not like, oh, I didn't meditate enough today. It's like, no, I sat down, I tried. It wasn't the best meditation, but I did it, and that's going to teach you for the next time. Because it's not, you can't fail at meditation. But the only way you can fail at it is if you don't do it. Even
Oh
if
well,
you do
yeah, but
20-minute meditation and you only actually meditating for 1 minute in your mind, you meditated and you did
you
something.
meditate. The when you're saying like finding your, like it is easier said than done, but at the same time it's actually the easy path. It's just that we are not used to walking the path of least resistance and finding yourself, instead of constantly like through our conditioning fighting yourself, right? So it's just a way to learn something new, learn a new path, so we can actually move. We're actually close to like, an hour, and we haven't touched like the vegan part, so you'll have to come back.
Okay. Maybe I'll bring some vegan food with me. Some,
like
like
virtual.
no, not virtual. I'm going to eat it while we're on camera.
Oh, okay.
Show it and I'll eat it.
Thank you so much for your insights. I think
Thank you
this
for
is
having
actually
me.
a very, very, very important conversation around like how we navigate in life, and how we catch ourselves, and how we redirect ourselves. And I'm so grateful for you in my life, and I'm so grateful for a relationship, and I'm so excited of what's coming up.
I'm very grateful for you as well. And I didn't want to do this originally. I'm glad I did. Not as painful like I thought it would be. I don't like to be on camera. I don't like at all. I just but this is okay. This is fun. This is, and I'll come back for another session with or without food. We'll have to see about that.
We'll see. We'll
We'll see.
play by ear.
Exactly.
All right,
And
listeners.
I just saw a pop up from my email that my CCNA credit came through. And I have a new badge. So it's official.
Oh,
Now it's really, really official.
oh, this is like this. We're capturing right now, like
It's,
the official, like because you had that you've passed, but like now you
yes.
have the official
Well, they say you
certificate. So
pass, but it's not official, and they have to be rechecked by I don't know who and their grandmother and the whole society. And then you click on stuff and it says, "Oh, your report score is ready." And you click on it, there's nothing there, and there's nothing there, and there's nothing there. It's like, why are you sending me emails saying it's ready and it's not vetted? And I just see it pop up that I've got a new badge, so it must be through.
so there you
I'm very
go. We
excited.
caught it. Congratulations again.
Live.
And
Thank you.
I love you. I see you.
Love you too.
And I feel you. Take care.
And I'll see you in 2 minutes. Bye.